security, cyber safety. What is that difference between these two terms? So cyber safety is the safe and responsible use of information and communication technology. See, basically cyber safety, where we use it, if you wanted to use some kind of a mobile, some kind of ICT, how to use safely those devices to protect your personal information. So as a person, as an individual, to protecting your information, so you need to practice some kind of activities where you can protect those devices, so that you can keep your information is safe and secure. So that means you should be responsible that the information, with that information what you have, and being respectful of other people online, and also good using the ethics. That means not only you are protecting, when you are posting some information, you should not harm others. You should not use somebody's information and post also. That is what ethic, no? I can't use somebody's work. I can't claim somebody's art because of somebody has shared with you, this is not my art. So you are simply posting that, and you may be not mentioning about who did this, but everybody is giving thumbs up. To get as many as thumbs ups, we use it to do such things. So it is not an ethic. So that is where, when cyber safety comes, how to use various practices to become yourself and responsible for your information, and while your information technology, whatever that you are using, devices and all, is more on individual basis. What is that cyber safety versus internet or online safety? When you look about the cyber is relating to, or categories of the culture of computers, information technology, communication, virtual reality, etc., etc., etc. Because any device which you are using, electronic device which you are using for communication, storing information, or etc., etc., anything like your mobile, to call somebody and to take a photograph. So you may say that, why, if I am taking a photograph, what is that information? Yes, when you are taking a photograph of a picture, when you are taking a photograph, a picture with a digital camera gives its metadata. Where you have taken this photograph, where you are that still background and picture, and whatever that time, not only the location, time, and all the stores. When you post this picture online, if somebody attacker is observing you, he can download and he can use the XF tool, so that he can understand whether this picture was taken exactly where the places. Let's say, take example, there is a background, Eiffel Tower is there, I am standing, and for my getting as many as that, I am in Paris, if I post this message. So because if you look into the background, everything I'm standing and morphing, everything we have done, I have done, which nobody believes that I'm not there. So everybody thumbs up to me that congratulations, you went Paris. Other stories also I'll write it. So to get as many as thumbs and this one. So, but if somebody is downloaded and taken that photograph was taken in India in the background of something, so nobody trusts you. So even though somebody sending an information photograph, all these things, you can check these with the tools, and whether that really that guy was initiated, or he simply downloaded and again forwarded, so that as his picture. Because nowadays WhatsApp, man, you can download the picture, and if you forward from WhatsApp to WhatsApp, it says that it's a forwarded picture. But if you download it in your machine and again you forward, it look like you are forwarded. So all these things can be done, morphing and all these things can be done, morphing. But whenever you are believing a news alike, you can see that with the tools and understand that whether you have to forward or not forward. Otherwise, there are 60 to 70% messages or pictures are fake pictures only. Fake in the real sense, it's not original that whoever is forwarding, or otherwise because of the to take like an unnecessarily degrading of somebody, they usually to forward these messages. So as being we are responsible, we should not be worry about these things. So that is where it is coming, that cyber safety. So when you are not sure, you should not forward. And when you want to do some research, you do research like a exit tool, use it, that photograph is right or not. And once you confirm that, then only you can forward it. So now coming to the cyber, all these communication devices, technology devices, virtual reality devices, all will come as part of cyber. So where these devices can talk to each other, or can forward the information, can receive the information. Where internet is a global computer network providing a variety of communication facilities, interconnected networks, protocols, etc. So they are all machines which are connected, or more than two machines, one or two, more than one machine connected to other machine, is in a kind of a connectivity between two computers. If the number of machines are joining to this connectivity, we may say network. Network of network is maybe internet, where they can transfer the data without as much as difficulties. The online is the controlled by connected to a computer. See, because we are all online, but in the afternoon I may stop it, because once I disconnected from this WebEx, so I'm disconnected. I'm not part of the your connectivity. But once I connected, I'm part. So now I am online. After some time, I may not be online. After 5:30, I may be not in online. My system is connected to internet, but I am not an online. People cannot access me directly. So that is where the difference between online. So when you are online, while you are directly speaking and somebody may be observing, so you need to see that the safety practices when you are part of online. When you are part of internet, where you are only to the accessing the resources, rather than you being the your thing could be shared. So that is where internet, then internet safety practices we need to follow. So all these things come under both cyber security, cyber security. What is cyber security? Cyber security means protecting data, protecting the information, networks, devices. That means it uses technology for securing IT ICT products. Whatever the product you have, like as a mobile, computer, they are all IT ICT products. When they are connecting in the talking to each other, we call it as a cyber. Who are using these devices? You are using. Whatever the practices you are taking care of, that is called cyber safety. And to protect these devices as part of the cyber safety, this, like to take an example again, your computer, you may be using antivirus. That means with antivirus, you are trying to protect your device. You may be implementing a policy that I won't use this without starting an antivirus. That is where the practice cyber safety. So that's what the difference is there. The cyber safety is mainly protecting the users from harmful online content, where cyber security is using the technology like firewalls, antiviruses for securing your devices. So it's a majorly the people versus technology. When you are using technology to protect something is called cyber security. When you doing a practice to be part of cyber security, that practice is generally done by people, so that come under cyber safety. I hope you understand the version cyber safety and cyber security. Then it is coming to the information security. Information security is a superset of all, including the cyber security, cyber safety, like communication security. There are a lot of few varieties of security domains are there in the information security: physical security, communication security, identity security, some part of the cyber safety, some part of the cyber security. But information is everywhere. Information is everywhere. And whatever the devices you are using, they plays a great role in terms of information storage, information flow. Here I wanted to give one more example. You may be using WhatsApp. So WhatsApp is saying that not only WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is having recently some issues, and if you wanted to understand, we can discuss that also. Basically, information storage and information flow also applies for anything, WhatsApp, even the Skype communication also. Let's Skype communication, whatever that they are saying also end-to-end encryption. End-to-end encryption means what? From where to where, whatever the things you are sharing the information, that should be encrypted. That means if anybody is collecting those packets, the packets are encrypted so that he can't see the original message. That is what the meaning of this end-to-end encryption. End-to-end means your mobile to the concerned mobile. But in between, there are a number of devices are there. Those devices can collect your information and can see your data. So, but what is the claim is that it is end-to-end encryption, so that the whatever communication you are forwarding from my device to the end device, other member devices, it is going through servers, routers, switches. You can collect anywhere. Even if somebody collects, that data is secured with encryption. That is what they are claiming. So now, let's say where this concept will come, information storage and information flow. Information is storing, where it is storing in your mobile. Am I right? That mobile, a picture is there. Now you are forwarding the picture to your peer user, your colleague. And that picture is traveling through your switch. That means your mobile device and ISP, their switches are there, routers are there. In turn to forwarding is ISP. Maybe your ISP is BSNL or other ISP is Airtel. So it is forwarding that ISP. And maybe you are using WhatsApp or Skype, it may be going to the server, and further that it is transferring to that other side by Airtel's ISP. From there, it is delivering the picture. So that picture is when traveling, all this, whether the people can see your data, so that is secured. The storage is there. The flow is what is called the traveling between your mobile to his mobile is the flow, and the messages is stored in your mobile. After your friend is received, he is also storing in mobile, and mobile by default is storing in his cloud also. Am I right? So this is what happening. Now you tell me that end-to-end encryption means it is covering all the things. Anybody? No, because when it is stored in your mobile, it's not encrypted. The legal enforcement agency is collected your mobile. That file belongs to your mobile, so that you might have forwarded that. That is what the first claim. And when he is received by other member, he also stores that picture in the mobile, so that communication was happened or not, they are able to understand. And he may be uploaded by default entire WhatsApp data into some cloud. Cloud could be a Google, so Google cannot encrypt WhatsApp message. Am I right? So that's what that is not encrypted. Anybody can see there also. Even the legal enforcement agencies also target those things only. So it's the end-to-end encryption means while traveling from your mobile to the information flow only it applies. But information when you store in your mobile and information stored in your server and information stored in the other side receiver's mobile is not encrypted. So it is the opportunity for legal agencies to check these things and identify whether the crime has happened or not happened. So that is where they will investigate when it is coming to that. Now people are moving from WhatsApp to Signal, but we need to understand Signal or Telegram. At least WhatsApp is having an encrypted, it is not storing information at that field. Now, but actually the encryption means in the Telegram, it is a client to IS server to the respective server of the other side client, and then again client. It's parts, and that means where that it is transforming the image from one end to other end, the servers are decrypting and encrypting again. In that time, these servers can see your data if they wanted to see the data. Signal is also open source, but working in the similar manner. So end-to-end means that device to ISP is end-to-end, ISP to again other device is end-to-end in those things. It's not end-to-end mobile to mobile. So that also we need to understand while moving the data. And coming to that, the privacy. That WhatsApp is saying that, what is exactly saying that, sir, we use for your data their business attacks. Okay, we are all worrying. But Google we are using. Google is also doing the same business. Google may be using us. Facebook is also collecting the data offline. Even though you are not offline, you are not connected to internet. So they if your machine is connected, your mobile is connected, they are recording things in background. And when you are online, they were taking that data. So even the Google is doing, Facebook is doing. See, if you don't want, if you really require privacy, you should not be part of those things. And as being government officials, we limit our communication, such kind of networks. That is what very important. So there are a lot of cyber attacks and data breaches are happening. When cyber attack is occurs, when cyber criminals try to gain illegal access to electronic data stored on a computer or network. So what do you mean by attack? Attack is that somebody is try to illegal access. Suppose if you are hosting in a website and you created a mechanism authentication required, without that authentication he is able to access your website, that we can say easily an attack. The intent might be to inflict reputational damage. See that generally the accessing those things, what exactly they do, they try to uh, inflict of your reputational damage, whatever, or harm to your business, or theft of valuable information. These are the things can be done by doing such attacks. What is the data breach? It's a type of a security incident. It occurs when information is accessed without authorization. So that's what we need to understand. What is the difference between attack and breach? Attack occurs when cyber criminals try to gain illegal access. That is, there is a possibility. When your web server is having a vulnerability, he is trying, by using that vulnerability, get into the website, is called as an attack. A data breach is an incident, and it occurs when information is accessed without. That means after accessing. The previous one is that he is using something to get into your website is attack. Once he came and he has taken entire data of your server without authorization is called as a breach. The information accessed could include personal information such as Aadhaar numbers. There is a news, the UIDA is attacked and data breach has happened. Your passwords, your financial account numbers. A cyber attack is often happens first. A data breach might follow. Say without attack, it is very difficult. In the definition itself, you need to understand. So when a web server is there, when somebody is trying to attack by using some of the vulnerability exist in some of the gap area exist in your website, is called as an attack. Once you get it into picture and got an access, then you try to take your data, that is as a called breach. That's what cyber attack often happens. First, a data breach might follow. Both the incidents can have an impact on you. Even though somebody attacking is also an impact, and after attacking, taking the data is also an impact. So we need to be very alert. Should be in alert for such kind of attacks. So we look about the confidentiality first. The confidentiality. So just look about that. What is the confidentiality versus disclosure? Is done at the highest possible confidence to only required people, only intended. There can be more than one level of confidence. That is, could be open to public, need to know, secret, top confidential, or top secret, etc. But confidentiality does not just include two people, but deals with whether the giving party and the receiving party trust each other and need to be trusted, and there needs to know the information as well. When confidentiality is not followed, it is considered as unauthorized disclosure, where data can spill and go to the hands of unwanted criminals or pose risk to the safety of a person or entity. So always, if you're looking about the confidentiality, we also look about the risk with the disclosure. That is particularly we need to consider as an unauthorized disclosure. So there is always a relation between confidentiality, disclosure. Maybe these two are mutual exclusive statements. By integrity, we mean that the data is accurate and their specs is best and does not change during transmission or after reaching the destination. For this, we may so that is what is you are saying? Is it now okay? Naresh?
No.
Is it audible?
No.
The confidentiality refers to the situation where all information exchange is done at the highest possible confidence to only required people, only intended people. There can be more than one level of confidence. That is, could be open to public, need to know, secret, top confidential, or top secret, etc. But confidentiality does not just include two people, but deals with whether the giving party and the receiving party trust each other and need to be trusted. And there needs to know the information as well. When confidentiality is not followed, it is considered as unauthorized disclosure, where data can spill and go to the hands of unwanted criminals or pose risk to the safety of a person or entity. So always, if you're looking about the confidentiality, we also look about the risk with the disclosure. That is particularly we need to consider as an unauthorized disclosure. So there is always a relation between confidentiality, disclosure. Maybe these two are mutual exclusive statements. By integrity, we mean that the data is accurate and that is best and does not change during transmission or after reaching the destination. For this, we may use some kind of parity checks, error checks, and various other methods are used for maintaining the integrity of the data. When data is transferred or data is transmitted, does not reach the destination in secure manner and source the changes, we call it definitely as an altered data, which is more or less useless because somebody changed it, no? So we cannot use it as per the integrity purposes. The data should be maintained in a correct state and nobody should be able to improperly modify it, either accidentally or maliciously. Then let's take example of ATM. ATM and bank software enforce the data integrity by ensuring that any transfers or withdrawals made via the machine are reflected in the accounting for the user's bank account. So the techniques for the maintaining the data integrity can span with many would consider disparate disciplines. For instance, many of the methods for protecting the confidentiality also enforce the data integrity. So you can't maliciously alter data that you can't access. After all, we also mentioned that data access rules enforced by most operating systems. In some cases, files can be read by certain users but not edited, which can help also maintain the data integrity along with availability. So, but there are other ways data integrity can be lost that go beyond the malicious attackers attempting to delete or alter it. So by looking this, the disclosure is how it is related to the confidentiality. Alteration is also related to the integrity. So availability. So that now the third point we are talking about the availability. Availability is basically the authorized users should be able to access data whenever they need to do so. Let's take example again. The ATM machine provides availability because it's in a public place and is accessible even when the bank branch is closed. So the 24/7 availability to take money from the ATM machines, even the bank is closing, is one of the good example of availability. Availability in the way we provide data to required members or required intended audience. In general, data is required to be provided on a 24/7 by 365 basis. The availability of data must conform to integrity and confidentiality as well. The requested data is not available means we can assume the data is either destroyed or became stale or corrupted. This can happen naturally when a media where data is stored is destroyed or corrupted, or even when we lose a reading medium for the stored data. For example, if you no longer have a video cassette player to play an important video clip stored on a tape, the entire tape can be considered as useless. Though the data on it may still be intact, some companies and entities also refer to the destruction principle as denial. So because even though you are having the data on tape drive, but having the tape drive which you can play on tape recorder, but no tape recorder available in the organization. Getting the old tape recorders are maybe very difficult. So you are still having the data, you are need to access the data. So that is where the relation between availability, distraction, we can map it. So confidentiality and disclosure, integrity versus alteration, availability versus distraction, or we need to consider for the CIA DDA trials. CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. DDA, disclosure, alteration, distraction with respect to CIA. Consider the example of a bank ATM, which can offer users access to bank balances and other information, along with whatever that withdrawal of money and. Am I right? So it provides confidentiality by considering the two-factor authentication. So what are those two factors? There, the physical card, that means the ATM card which we have, and a PIN number before allowing the such kind of access to any data of your account. So that is where it is required some kind of an authentication. So this could be implemented through cyber security, but essentially anything that restricts access to data falls under the rubric of the confidentiality, which includes information security two big A's. One is authentication, which encompasses processes that allow system to determine if a user is who they say they are. This includes passwords and even the techniques available for establishing an identity, such as biometrics, security tokens, cryptographic keys, and the like. The second A is authorization. What is authorization? Which determines who has the right to access which data. Just because a system knows who you are, it doesn't mean, or it doesn't necessarily open all its data for your perusal. So one of the most important ways to enforce confidentiality is establishing need to know mechanisms for data access. That way, users whose accounts have been hacked or who have gone rogue can't compromise sensitive data. Most operating systems enforce confidentiality in this sense by having any files only accessible by their creators or an admin for an instance. So that is where we need to look about the confidentiality with respect to and with the taking support of authentication and authorization. So let's take example of a case study. So what factor of the CIA, confidentiality, integrity and availability, or DDA, right, can the credit card company be best said to have violated? So whether it is the confidentiality is violated, distraction or identification or availability. How do you take it this as a case study? So as part of mine, if you are looking for the analysis of this, an organization decided to store all its customer data, which is critical on CDs, DVDs, kept original data in same hard disk of available machines. That's a take example. So the data is stored, entire data is stored in a CDs and DVDs because at the time that CDs, DVDs are having as much as data and keeping based on the variety of segmentation of the data. However, due to space limitation, the organization decided that the old computers discarded after removing the hard disk due to data. When the technology changed, the company started storing the data on a secure cloud. During a routine cleanup 10 years later, one employee found these hard disks, CDs, DVDs, but by then there was no technology available to the organization to read what was on the CD, DVD, hard disk. Because at those CDs, DVDs, hard disks, you required a specialized CD drive, DVD drive, and that old hard disk also you don't have because you changed the entire computers or laptops where you don't have any interfaces. Moreover, that hard disks are also not working, and CDs, DVDs are having the data you cannot access due to we have some kind of a problem with respect to accessing of these CD, DVD drives or not having those them. Moreover, no one responsible and those who know what was on the disk were no longer working in the organization. So unable to read or know the details, finally the company decided to just discard these disks in the trash. Unfortunately, someone digging in the trash found these disks and with the help of an old disk reader was able to get some older personally identified information in general called as a PIA, like a credit records. So that guy was trying to consider these records to exploit and cause damage to the clients. In disposing of all these disks in the trash without proper distraction, what factor of the CIDADA tried can be credit card company be best said to have violated? That is what the case study. Whether it is a confidentiality, distraction, identification, availability. So if we are going through that, the data is stored in CD, DVDs. Once again, I'm explaining, try to this case study, and some of the artist data is available. But the company is moved recently to the cloud, where this entire particular thing, CDs, DVDs were kept as a store, and finally, because of the space, they trashed out, and somebody is digged this information and try to exploit your bank users. This is what case study, and what is that this company best said to be have violated, whether it is confidentiality, distraction, or identification or availability. If you look into that, if you look into the further analysis, the confidential data without destroying the media, if media is unreadable, it should be physically destroyed. or even burned to avoid losing the confidential data to the fraudsters. So that is where we are looking about this. So note that but the main point is that the organization just threw away confidential data without destroying the media. If a media is unreadable, it should be physically destroyed or even burnt to avoid losing confidential data. Maybe the statement and question can be further revisited and rewritten as follows. During the CD-DVD evolution era, an organization decided to store all its customer data on CD-DVD. The life of CD-DVD hard disk cannot be read these days due to various reasons. But without looking at estimating such possible incidents and present situation, the company decided to just discard these disks in the trash. Then obviously C is wrong because identification is not a factor of either the CIA or DDA trial. Now, and so option is D, we look into about that, because when the company threw out of the disk, they made the disk available to anyone for free. In this case, they made the disk available and did not violate that factor. So, because they are made it available to anybody, so that there is no question of the availability. So, option B is what the company decided not to do here. But in reality, they should have, so it is wrong too. The factor they violated was basically confidentiality. Why? Because when you are looking about the distraction, they have to do that, they didn't do that. Am I right? The factor they violated was basically the confidentiality by throwing away the disk. So the factor by throwing away the disk, they choose the risk of disclosing the client base for free to anyone who could read those disks. Simply because the company lacked a medium or method to read the disk does not mean they can simply throw the disk away without proper distraction. Thus, the correct answer is option A. Note that if the question asks that what factor the company made sure in the CIA DDA trials, then the answer is option D, since they made the data available for free to all. In this situation, the company violated confidentiality and made data available for all. So the CA trial is important, but it is not wholly. Entire thing is that there are plenty of InfoSec experts who will tell you it doesn't cover everything. As we mentioned, and suppose like in 1998, Don Parker proposed a six-sided model that was later dubbed the like in a Parkerian axis, which is built on the following principles. Along with confidentiality, integrity, and availability, there is a requirement of possession of control and authenticity and utility. In somewhat open to question whether the extra 3 points really press into the new territory. So utility and possession could be lumped under availability, for instance, but it's worth noting as an alternative model. A final important principle of information security that doesn't fit neatly into the CA triad is non-repudiation, which essentially means that someone cannot falsely deny that they created, altered, observed, or transmitted data. This is crucial in legal context when, for instance, someone might need to prove that the signature is accurate or that the message was sent by the person whose name is on it. The CA triad is not be all, but it's a valuable tool for planning your InfoSec strategy. So you can look into the further references of http://www.csonline.com and 70 tips and tricks by mastering the CISP examination work by R.S. Hermanton Turti. You can refer. So basically, so any doubts are there? Any kind you wanted to ask? So Manoj Gangeya, you just try to type A, but that is not that fully is there. So otherwise, we will give 3 to 5 minute break and we'll come back. So if you don't have any kind of, see somebody saying, please provide the username and password for ICE-reskill.net. So whether you might have received email, so that you have to click that email link, and the password you need to use is a user ID as your email ID, and change password option. If you can use it, then it requests that password would be created automatically. So please use email